city?
Yeah. It's near Angel.
All right. What are you studying?
Law.
Ah, good man, good man. Now, let's try and rewind the clock back to
3 years.
when we were. And since you've already confused me with someone, let's get back to what we were discussing. Yeah.
Yes. I confused you with somebody else. I
know.
started bringing the argument that you would. Do you know who I confused you with?
Who?
Harold. I
Arul,
came back.
how dare you confuse me with him?
I'd forgotten what you looked like. I came back the next week, and I thought, where's that fellow? And I saw somebody who could it have been that person? And I went up to him and said, because I said, I looked up Josiah, and he said, oh, good, very good. It's about Josiah. Let's talk about Josiah. I thought, was I forgotten?
He had forgotten anything. Well, it doesn't matter.
And then I accused him the next week. I said, you tricked me. I thought you were a Christian. I've just found you on, I found out from somebody else, the person you're Shabir Yusuf. He said, I'm not Shabir. What?
After a full conversation, you realize, it's not him. Oh, it happens, don't worry. So, currently, I think, when was it? I had an opportunity to have a look at the video. Was it last week or the week before? Who were you talking to? Brother Shamsi or Brother...
Ali Dawa?
Ali.
I spoke to him in the summer.
Yeah. I was actually watching that to see. I mean, going back to what we said, as I can recall, the conversation that you were having was with somebody else, and we came in and we were having a conversation. I mean, you are an Orthodox. Yeah. What is it? You see, the way I want to do it, I don't want us to go all the way around, but as a person of Jewish origin, obviously Christianity came, and then Islam came. How are you? It's okay. How are you viewing these two that came after? And I want you to be open with me. You know, we are fine.
So I view them as false. I view them as both false.
Okay.
But I view them as having little sparks of truth within them.
Yeah.
And that I view that they've done a lot of good in the world. They've also done a lot of bad in the world. So I see that Christianity and Islam have spread some very important concepts to people, right? Across the world, they've spread the idea of a Messiah. They've spread the idea of one God, even if Christians have got it the wrong way around. This is very useful, because when the Messiah comes, we believe, so now people around the world, they now know what is this, right? They now know what's going on. Right? So Christianity and Islam have served a very important purpose, preparing the world for the Messianic age.
Right.
This is what Maimonides says.
Yeah.
However, they have also wrought a lot of destruction, a lot of terrible things have happened in the name of these two religions over the course of their existences, especially when they've had power. And so these are, of course, negative influences in the world. So there's positive influences and negative influences.
Yeah, of course. But I mean, I'm sure that if we were to take your reasoning to its logical conclusion, the assumption is that when the Messiah comes, is he going to have enemies?
I suppose probably, at the beginning, probably yes.
Is there a possibility that there is going to be war?
There is going to be a war before the Messiah comes. That we know from Ezekiel.
But after the Messiah comes?
After the redemption, there's not going to be any war. Peace.
Is he going to have enemies?
At that point, no.
He's not going to have any enemies.
Right.
Okay.
There's going to be one final war just before the Messiah kind of reveals himself. It's going to be the war of Gog and Magog. This is described in Ezekiel. And there's a little bit of description about it in Zechariah as well. After that, Elijah's going to come and say the Messiah's coming in 3 days. In 3 days the Messiah will come and Elijah will tell us who he is. And then that will usher in this era of world peace. How exactly that will work, I don't know.
Right, I understand. That's fine. Now, the issue is this. If, for example, you have Christianity, then came Islam. You view them both as false. On what premise do you view them as false?
I view both of them as false in that their books contradict the Torah, and that they believe that there were people who were prophets who came after what I believe was the end, the seal of prophecy.
Okay.
The seal of prophecy, the end of the prophets
Yeah.
for the world was the prophet Malachi.
Yeah.
The end of prophecy for the Gentiles, the non-Jews, was Balaam.
Okay.
Sometime before that. You know,
Yeah. Yes. Okay. That is fine. But again, I'm still asking, on what basis are you going to exclude Christianity and Islam? If I were to say, because what you said, the Torah, it goes against the Torah. In what way?
So, for example, Christianity.
Yeah.
So Christianity has the idea that God became a man, right? Became a human being on the earth. This is very much contrary to the Tanakh, the Bible.
But I know
they
without.
believe that there was
I'm sorry. What's your name?
Josh.
Josh. Listen, before you go further
Remember,
about
there were two
what
Joshes last time.
I know, I can remember now. Before you go further, look, what the Christians believe is not necessarily what the book says. Do we agree?
Yes, although
Okay.
it does say there that, although I have seen, Jesus says in John, I am the Father are one. I know that there is a Unitarian and a Muslim way of looking at that, which is that one not in essence but in some other thing.
No, but can we not look at it, Josh, for what it is? Rather than saying it has got either an Islamic view of it or just looking at the statement itself. Because if I were to say, and because we are discussing it, we may as well go into the meat. Yeah? It says, I and my Father are one. Yeah? But the chapter or the verse starts off at verse 23. They come to him and say, if you are who you claim you are, the Messiah, tell us plainly. And he said to them, I have many a good works have I shown you from the Father. Yeah? For some odd reason he equated good works, yeah? But he also said, he says, my sheep know me, they hear me, they follow me. Yeah? No one can pluck them out of my Father's hands. No one can pluck them out of my hands. I and the Father are one. Now, logically speaking, the statement itself is making an association with the Creator in a way which can only be understood to be blasphemous. It seems like that. But, like I said, if you look at the text and the evidence, it does not necessarily mean that is what it is saying. So, we see, if I were to ask you now, Josh, he said, I and my Father are one. That's verse 30 of chapter 10. What does verse 31 say?
No idea.
What does verse 32 say?
No idea.
Right, okay. Now, I understand, yeah, because it is a common thing that the Christians tell us. But, verse 31, they picked up stones to stone him. What did they do? Who were they?
Pharisees?
Let's call them collectively the Jews. They picked up stones to stone him. He says in verse 32, many a good works have I shown you from the Father. For which of the good works do you stone me? Now, if you reason it based on what you said, he claimed, or he made a statement, I and my Father are one. They, like what you are thinking, thought it was blasphemy. He says to them, many a good works have I shown you from the Father, for which of the good works do you stone me? Verse 33, they said to him, for a good work we stone you not, but for blasphemy. For after being a man, you make yourself a God. Now, I and my Father are one is not what necessarily we think it means. Because here he is telling them, I have done many good works. Which one are you stoning me for? It's like he didn't realize why they had picked up stones. Because if he did, he would have said, yes, I am. What's your problem? But he didn't, did he? He says to them, many a good works have I shown you from the Father. Now tell me, Josh, as a reasonable individual, they picked stones to stone him. Before that, they asked him, if you are the Christ, tell us plainly. Yeah, if you are the Messiah, tell us plainly. He says to them, many a good works from the Father have I shown you. My sheep hear my voice. They know me. Now, so far, has he said anything blasphemous? My sheep know me in the full.
He hasn't said blasphemy.
He hasn't said anything.
It's weird, but it's not blasphemy.
Absolutely. Then he says, and I'm glad you said weird because now you understand why they misunderstood what he said. Yeah? So he then says to them, no one can pluck them out of my Father's hand. Who? The true disciples. No one can pluck them out of my hand. Who? The true disciples. I and the Father are one. Now there is an issue where we think he claimed divinity in a way. Yeah? So what happens next? They pick up stones. They want to stone him. He merely continues his discussion with them because he was talking about what? Good works, wasn't he? They picked up stones. He says to them, many a good works have I shown you from the Father. For which of the good works do you stone me? Up to that juncture, what was he thinking? It's logical. From verse 23, all he has talked about is good works. He has talked about his disciples. He has talked about the connection between the disciples and the Creator. He has talked about the connection between the disciples, the Creator, and him. And in that context, he made the statement, I and the Father are one. Now, it seems patently obvious from verse 23 to verse 30, he is talking about a sequence in which he is establishing clearly that me and my purpose is the same as what the Creator has sent me for. But they misunderstood. Verse 31, they picked up stones. Verse 32, he says, many a good works have I shown you from the Father. For which of the good works do you stone me? Now it's come. For a good works we stone you not, but for blasphemy. Now, what does he say, verse 35 and 36? Josh, what he says is he puts up a defense. And you'll come across the word defense in law, I'm sure you will. Yeah? He puts up a defense. He said, is it not written in your law? I said, ye are gods. Where is he referring to? The book of Psalms. Is that before Malachi?
No, it's after Malachi.
Psalms.
Psalms.
Yeah.
The order is after Malachi. It's written before Malachi.
Yeah. If he has put it
in the order of the Tanakh, Psalms comes after Malachi. But in the order chronologically when it was written, it was written before Malachi.
That's it. Right. But whether it's before or after, the question is, he has referred to something. He said, is it not written in your law? I said, ye are gods. What did he mean?
He's trying to say that we're all gods.
Well, he's quoting from Psalms.
Yeah.
He's saying, look, God has already explained to you what he means. Yeah? And he says to him, is it not written in your law? Now he is telling them, look, you have grossly misunderstood what I just said. Is it not written in your law? I said, ye are gods. And if the word of God came onto him, yeah, and he claimed to be the Son of God, why do you have a problem? Now, have you seen the switch in the language? He says, I have said this. I'm merely claiming I'm the Son of God. But is that what he said? That's not what he said. How has it suddenly switched to the notion of Son of God?
My friend, can I ask you something? You're a Jew.
It's a question to ask and consider. But he goes on to finalize it and he says to them, George, he said, if there were gods on whom the word of God came, why do you see a problem with me claiming to be the Son of God? Now, according to the Torah, the appellation Son of God, is it a valid one?
Only in the sense that we're all sons of God.
Now, if I were to take that, Hebrews 9:27, for as many as are led by the Spirit of God are the sons of God.
How come any
Not a problem, is it? If you go to the book of Job chapter 25, it says there very clearly, what is the Son of Man? Merely a worm. Yeah? Now, you can see the appellation is being used. The appellation is being used, and John 10:30, when read objectively, clearly establishes that Jesus did not make the claim to divinity. And these verses I've read out are actually there, you can check them. Yeah? But a bit further than that, I will ask this. You see, in this particular verse, we have established it is not what you thought it said. Give me another one.